can you take Ozempic and testosterone at the same time? Yes, you absolutely can, but in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it the right way so that you can maximize the benefits of both therapies. We've had many people do this very successfully, and as a bonus, I'm going to show you some of these patient case studies that will open your eyes to the possibilities. By the end of this video, you'll have the confidence of knowing how testosterone and Ozempic work together synergistically and how to do it the right way. So I had a client who came and he said, man, I just don't feel like I'm getting anything from my testosterone anymore. When I started on it 2 years ago, I felt like I was alive again. When I would accomplish a task, I could celebrate. I actually felt like the work I was doing was meaningful like I did when I was younger. When I first had my testosterone levels checked, my doctor said everything looked great. And then I came to you guys and you guys said, well, actually your testosterone is about 200% lower than where we want it. And so getting on testosterone, he said it changed my life. But now 2 years later, I'm just not feeling that same kind of buzz from it. I just feel like it's not working. And so we went through a medical review process with him, and we hadn't seen him in about 6 months. And we started looking at things differently. And we said, okay, well, what's changed? And one thing he had done is he'd gone to his doctor and he'd got on Ozempic. He was like, oh, I just was doing, supplements and a couple different peptides for you guys. I didn't realize you guys could actually prescribe Ozempic. And I was like, well, yeah, absolutely. But what happened is he did it the wrong way. And he started to downregulate his body's metabolism in a way that he couldn't build muscle because he didn't maintain the caloric needs that his body had. And then turns out his what's called the sex hormone binding globulin, when we ran his hormone profile, we found that that protein was bound up with all of his testosterone. So everything he was taking, his body was converting it, but it was getting on the shuttle and not getting off the shuttle to actually create some activity in his body. So we talked about a strategy, and I said, look, before we start, we need to do a full blood exam and evaluation so that we can make sure that there's nothing going on in the liver, nothing going on in the kidneys, because we have seen some issues with people being on Ozempic and testosterone combined. So some of the markers, for those of you who have your blood labs, if you want to pull out your blood labs, look at your liver enzymes, your ALT and your AST. Ideally, you don't want these markers above about 25. And especially if you're drinking alcohol when combining testosterone with Ozempic and you're losing weight very quickly, your liver has so much more metabolic waste to process. Like 1 pound of fat, if you think about the metabolic demands and the metabolic waste of getting rid of that tissue, it's very hard on your liver because there's a lot of toxins that get bound in our fat. And so that's one of the things we noticed is he wasn't detoxifying. And so what happened is his SHBG, or sex hormone binding globulin, started to creep up. And usually that's one of the signs. If you see your labs, especially if you're on testosterone replacement, look at your sex hormone binding globulin because it can be a good indicator as far as how well your body's detoxifying. So when we talk about detoxification, think about the 3 main systems. So one of the ways we detoxify is through your liver. Your liver takes in toxic material, it breaks those materials down, it goes through phase 1, that water soluble becomes a fat soluble molecule, into phase 2, and then glutathione is one of the activating processes there, along with activating this gene called cytochrome P450, which is where you need iron. So if you're in a caloric deficit, you're not eating red meat, or you're not eating enough, then you may have an iron deficiency, which will limit your detoxification. And then phase 3 is when you poop it out. So you want to look at the liver, you want to look at the colon, and you want to look at the lymphatic system. Now, the lymphatic system is this underrated part of our bodies. I mean, it's crazy because your lymphs are what the blood carries all the waste out of your body and it stores it in the lymphs. If you have all these inflammatory cytokines and your blood gets old, then what you'll see is the lymphatic system starts to get really clogged up. If your lymphatic system is backed up, you'll retain fluid. You'll notice your chin gets a little saggy. Your face will start to, even if you're losing weight, you're like, my face looks swollen. You'll notice that you just don't feel like your body can move as freely as it could before. You just feel a little bit stuck. And that's what happened to him, because he wasn't detoxifying appropriately. So if you're using Ozempic or any kind of weight loss GLP-1 and testosterone, one thing testosterone can do is it causes you to hold on to water weight. And if you don't have good detoxification and you're losing weight at the same time, and if you think about all of the free-floating fatty acids, and if you consider the amount of toxins that our fat tissue holds on to, now your liver's got twice the work. And if you're taking exogenous testosterone, and that causes you to hold on to a little bit of water, but it also has to get metabolized through your liver's just like overworked. It's like when your boss tells you like, hey, I know that you're the marketing director and you're running all of our events, but by the way, now you need to do social media, and I need you to post on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. Oh, and by the way, I want you to run operations. And you're going, what? Just like you're overwhelmed. And that's what happens to the liver. And that's exactly what happened to Mike, because his liver was so overwhelmed because he wasn't detoxifying. So what do you do if this is you? Well, the first thing you want to do is work with medical professionals. And don't do this alone, because it is very sensitive, because your muscle is so needy at this stage. When you're losing weight, you don't want to lose muscle mass. And in some cases, if you're in a caloric deficit, then your body will bypass fat and you'll be breaking down muscle fibers, because the muscle in your glutes and in your legs is easy for your body to break down and use as a sugar source. So if you notice that your butt's shrinking, like I met with one of my patients yesterday and his doctor put him on Ozempic, and he said, I was ice skating with my daughter and I fell and hit the ice, and if I hadn't lost my ass, I would have felt fine. But my ass is so sore because that is what went away first, is my butt and my legs. And he's on testosterone. But the problem is he wasn't detoxifying. He's like, yeah, something just doesn't feel right. And he said, yeah, I've lost 30 pounds, but I don't feel the energy that I thought I would feel. So here's the secret. Here's what you need to do. Number one is you want to focus on lymphatic drainage. And this is really critical. This is where sweating every day is really important if you're losing weight, because part of the toxic material in our fat is infections, and it's also heavy metals. So infections can harbor in the fatty tissue in our brain, like Lyme disease, mold, mycotoxins, and then you get infections like parasites or candida, and that gets harbored in the gut or in the intestines and into the fatty deposits. So as you're losing weight, you want to make sure that you are sweating, because that's the way you can move the lymphs. The second way is jumping on a trampoline. Get a rebounder trampoline. Put on some Kathy Lee, whoever the fitness trainer is that you love. Jane Fonda, okay. Do some aerobics. Whatever you need to do, move your body. Get out for a run. Do some sprinting. One of the research pieces, they found that if you sprint for 1 hour, it's the equivalent to fat burning as running for 7 hours. So just sprint for an hour a week and you'll be there. I mean, it's a lot of hard work. It will burn your muscles. That's a really great way to move the lymphs. The second thing that you want to do is use binders. So in all of our protocols, when we're helping people who want to lose weight, maximize their testosterone, and lose weight without compromising their health, then that's where you want to make sure that these binders like fulvic and humic acid are part of your daily routine. So we use a process called CellCore, where we're detoxifying every single system of your body. And then the third thing you want to look at in the detoxification process is making sure that you've got great elimination. And this is where peptides like BPC 157, KPV, or if you have a sensitivity to gluten, which a lot of you do, even though we hate to admit it, that pizza is just so good, then lorazepam is a phenomenal peptide. Actually, lorazepam was FDA approved for people with celiacs so that they could have a little bit of a brush with gluten, but not end up in the bathroom all day. So this is what we did for Mike. The crazy thing that happened with him is we said, well, first of all, we're going to get you on tirzepatide. It's a safer GLP-1, and we're going to get you on a microdose, a lower dose, and then we're going to put in 5-amino-1-MQ. We're going to activate your growth hormone pathways with tesamorelin, ipamorelin, and we're also going to use this beautiful detoxification protocol. And so we started detoxifying his body. We got him on gonadorelin, which is a peptide to help his brain so that his body remembers how to make its own testosterone. He'd gotten off of that. We had him on it originally. And what happened to Mike is he had a complete transformation. He actually was, for the first time in his life, was able to get a six-pack. And it's pretty funny in the clinic. He's like showing me his abs. Like, this is great, Mike. You look phenomenal, and I love the hard work, but don't make the same mistake he did. You know, he forgot that, hey, if you're on testosterone and you're taking Ozempic, and especially if you're on high doses and you're losing weight, that can put your body in a very dangerous situation because your liver can't process it. So first thing, get your labs ran, make sure that you understand how all the systems are working, make sure you have a really good detoxification protocol, and then make sure you've got the right exercise and the right nutrients to circumvent any risks of you being on testosterone and Ozempic at the same time. So if you got value out of this video and you learned about the risks of being on testosterone and Ozempic, and now you understand how to do it the right way, check out my other videos on how to use other peptides outside of Ozempic to lose the weight you want to lose. And make sure not to share this video with anybody because I'm sharing secrets with you. This is between you and me. So I'll see you in the next video.